Hey guys, Aaron Daniels here from The Average Guitarist, and as always, I'm taking a look at gear and guitars from the average player's perspective. Before we get started, be sure and hit the like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications for many more videos to come and some great giveaways in the next month. You do not want to miss that. And for transparency, as always, today's product is not sponsored by Positive Grid, the folks who make the Spark amp. Now, before I get started, if you want to jump around on this video, look in the description for tags to view the areas that you're interested in. I plan on doing an unboxing, features, and demo, and then of course any issues and final thoughts about this piece of gear. So let's get started. So today is the day we finally have the Spark Control, a highly requested piece of gear for the Spark 40 amp from Positive Grid. Now, back in early September, I was the first to release a video about the upcoming foot switch, and it's here. So what is it? Well, it is called the Spark Control, and this is a wireless Bluetooth pedal that has been designed to control your Spark app and your Spark amp. Now, there have been some really crazy and I mean wicked smart people out there in various Facebook groups and social media groups who have cracked this amp open, and they have made their own switch to control Sparky. But for the rest of us who are average guitarists and not engineers, this only left one other option, and that was the Air Step made by Sonic, which does come out of China. Now, that was released almost a year ago. The Air Step had its own problems, the biggest, of course, being that it was broken with updates every time Positive Grid would update, that is, until Air Step upgraded their software. But this is certainly not a review of the Air Step. I do not own one. I held out for the Spark Control, knowing that Positive Grid would eventually develop one. So real quick, let's take a look at the unboxing video right now.
Where's the melody? Where's the hope that frees you from a hopeless place? Where's forgiveness? Where's eternity? Where is that solid dose of mercy and grace? 'Cause it wasn't in those stars or those charts you were diligently reading, and it wasn't in the palm of your hand. You read, you try anything and everything, but nothing ever put you at ease. No, no, your soul is never satisfied. It begs, it cries, looking for the kind of love that took you down the river of peace, that you know that will never be denied, as long as your heart goes any way the wind blows. Any way the wind blows. What's your creed? What's morality? Is it a line that seems hazy at its best? But there's a compass who navigates, and will it lead you far from all your restlessness? 'Cause it wasn't in those cards or those numbers that you were counting on.
So I'm not a real big fan of unboxing videos, but a lot of people like them, and I figured, hey, why not? Let's take a look at it. I'll put it out there for you. I know some of you have already gotten it, so you've had a chance to unbox it yourself, which is always a lot of fun, but there you go. Right now, let's talk features. First off, this is made in America, and that's awesome. This pedal has 4 stainless steel switches, and they're really, I don't know if you can hear that, they're real responsive and they're springy. The foot switches, of course, come pre-programmed, or you can assign and change any of the presets inside the Spark app. So you can load 4 different amps that you want. Of course, you know, on the Spark, you can put 4 different presets on there, and this will respond to preset 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can switch between them as needed. So if you wanted that awesome PV amp and then go to, say, you know, a matchless, you can do that. You can have those on there. So if you wanted a super clean amp like the Fender, and then you wanted to go to, say, the Mesa Boogie amp that they have on there, you can do that as well. One of the other really cool things that you can do is that you can run the pedal in effect mode, which is basically have one amp loaded. Say you absolutely love the matchless. Well, you can load that in there, and then you can toggle the effects and say make this one distortion and overdrive, and this one delay and chorus and that kind of thing. So that's always kind of cool as well. Now, the one feature that you might find useful is the ability to play, stop, and pause songs or backing tracks. This pedal will also control Smart Jam and will control features in a little upgrade that Positive Grid did. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. Yeah, the Experience Jimi Hendrix expansion. It's awesome. A little, you know, a little overhyped, I'd say. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing, amazing upgrade, but man, it's like everywhere. Every time I turn on the internet, there it is. Anyway. This unit is just under 10 inches. It weighs only 11 ounces. It has built-in rechargeable battery that boasts 150 hours of playing time, and it's easily recharged with a supplied cable, or you can actually hook it up to a 9-volt power supply and stick that on your pedal board if you want. Now, those of you who have not tried, I'm telling you, this little amp here, I know it's a practice amp and I know it's got their own sounds, but if you have some of your own pedals and you want to run it through there, it takes pedals really well, in my opinion. Now, Positive Grid has stated that more is on the way in the first quarter of 2022, such as changing effect parameters on the fly and some Smart Jam controls and more. So we can definitely look forward to that expandability. I know many of you were like, "Hey, it doesn't have a looper, so it's a no deal for me." You know, I got a looper pedal, I use that and that works, but I understand what you're saying. Everyone wants their own thing. And of course, that's not to say that Positive Grid will not add looping features in the future with a software update or as a possible upgrade. I don't know anything about that yet, but if I hear anything, I will certainly let you know. So let's talk setup. So when it comes to setting up the Spark control, I have to say, a couple of people online were having issues with this, but to me, it was really, really simple. Of course, they give you a card that talks you how to do it. You power on the Spark control switch right here. Just hold the power button down. Then, of course, you power on your mobile device. In my case, I use an iPad Pro. Then I open the Spark app, and right there in the settings menu is a little button that says click to add device, or you can actually just swipe over and you will see that it already has the Spark control listed in there, and it basically pairs with it. It's really awesome. Now, make sure your Spark amp and Spark control are both connected to the Spark app, and then you're ready to rock. A downside, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in my final thoughts, is that you cannot use this alone with the Spark amp. It has to go through the app, because this connects to the app and then the app connects to the Spark 40. So that's how it goes. In the app, of course, you can reassign buttons as needed, and that's a pretty cool thing as well. So let's take a look at the demo. I'll talk about latency and show you a couple of things. All right, first I want to look at effects mode. So this is essentially using Spark control as your stomp box. With this, if you are looking at the iPad there, you can engage the drive on and off right there. You can also set to turn on the reverb. You can do some things with your EQ if you want that, or modulation pedal, compressor, whatever you want. Obviously delay. So it's pretty cool. I've seen that is very responsive. In fact, if I would just sit here and do a little clean and then distorted chugging. seems to be pretty responsive. So I'm pretty happy with that. The problem I have, though, is not using the spark control in Staltbox mode, but actually switching between your hardware presets, and I'll show that to you right now. Alright, so right here you can see that the channel 4 is the orange. We go over here. Channel 1 is the chug with the insane. So now if I go back to 4, you just saw between the click. Now listen to it. Let me go back. We can do chug. So that can be a little bit problematic. I've got the latest firmware update again on Sparky on the app, and even the pedal. I checked it and everything seems to be fine. And of course I did reach out to Positive Grid. It took a little while to finally get someone on, and that was an experience in itself, which I will talk about later. But the issue for me right now is if I want to have two different amps and going back and forth, I'm just having a little bit of that latency issue. Other than that, everything is working really well. I don't know if y'all have the issue with the other pedal, but Spark Control, so far this is it. And I think this is something that might be able to clean up via software issue. Positive Grid said they were going to escalate this and talk to the engineers and see what they can come up with. But again, kind of going back and forth. So going from the orange clean, actually I got the overdrive on that, so never mind. But going from one amp to another. So, let's see. So again, going from one to the other, I know that those aren't the right tones for that song, nor is that played exactly the same. Just the first thing that came to mind. It actually also could be the fact that I'm playing Collective Soul through the Spark and it just doesn't like that. That is a legitimate concern, but you can see what I'm saying here. All right, so the first issue, and let's get this out in the open, is that the Spark Control has to be used with the app. It cannot just connect with the amp. I really wish that would happen. The reason being is, and my guess, and some of you guys, if you know the answer to this or you know kind of how Bluetooth works, you might be able to make a comment and educate me on this, but I believe that the Spark amp can only receive one Bluetooth connection, so it cannot take this and your mobile device that is controlling the app at the same time. So it would make sense that they would take this to connect to your mobile device, such as your iPad or whatever it is you're using on the non-Apple, I don't know, I'm in the Apple ecosystem, but whatever you're using, Android, that's it. And then of course that would connect to the amp. That makes sense. Now, you can't just connect this directly to the amp. The amp has to be connected to the app in order to use Spark Control. So I want just right up there. Now, of course, it'd be nice not to have to use the app for this and the amp. Just load your presets and go. But again, I think I understand why they did this. Now, thinking ahead, it may be a feature in the future via software update where you can connect your pedal directly to the amp, you won't be able to use the app. Some people may have an issue with that, but again, if you have your hardware presets already in the amp and you're not wanting to, switch things around a whole lot, say you're wanting to just rehearse with the band and you don't want to take the big monster with you, you can take this instead and just use those 4 presets. I understand. How that would work if you're just using one amp and you're wanting to toggle effects, I don't know, but it would be cool to see if that is possible in the future. Secondly, I've had this unit for a few days now and I've played around with it quite a bit. I usually play about 2 hours in the morning and an hour in the evening. And when I am in the app environment, I am good. When I am using YouTube videos within the app, the Spark app, I don't have any problems whatsoever. But I do like to go to YouTube. I have the Spark app running in the background, and then I will open up YouTube separately to listen to certain backtracks through the Spark, and I play. It's just easier for me than having to go through the app, and I've got my subscriptions and certain things that I like to do in there, and that's just what I do. Maybe not everyone is like that, but I have found that when I am watching a video outside of the app and I'm still using the Spark control through it, I'm getting some glitchiness. Basically, it's choppy sounds. The sound will cut in and out for about a second or so. This isn't, of course, being too far away as my iPad. I'm sitting right next to the amp. It is, I'm pretty sure, just an issue with running audio through the Spark amplifier while using the Spark control in the amp, and it's just not talking real well. I did try doing a hard reset to see if maybe that would fix it. Maybe it was just something in the setup that I screwed up on. It's very possible. Remember, average guitarist here, average intelligence, and that wasn't it. So I reached out to Positive Grid for direction on that. I haven't heard yet, but I'm guessing it's just because I'm outside of the app ecosystem. When I am definitely inside though, I have zero problems, and it's kind of the way to go. I did talk to someone the other day that said that they were using the Spark app on their phone and running this through, and they put their phone in their pocket, and I guess the phone turned off, or just basically went into hibernate mode like it normally does. And at that point, this did not work. So I think you have to have the app open at all times, even if it's just running in the background. Let me know what you guys have found out. What is your experience on that? I mean, this is so new that I don't know if it's just isolated with me or if this is an ongoing issue with other people. And please comment and educate me on this. I'd love to learn just like everyone else. All right, here are my final thoughts. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this a solid 8.5. Now, this rating is based on an American-made pedal. It's a solid build. The ease of setup. It had amazing shipping times. Positive Grid said they would ship on Monday. Sure enough, they did, but they never updated their website to show when it was shipped. And that triggered a little bit of that PTSD from the first time when we ordered the amp. Some of you guys were like really early out, and it took like almost a year for some of us to get it. But they followed through on their word. They shipped it on Monday, but they failed to update their site. Some may see this as an issue. I'm just glad it shipped. That's all I really cared about. But I was a little worried when they said Monday, and the day that this actually came in, it was still showing online that it was preparing to ship. So just so you know about that. One last thing. I know many of you have asked for a looper, and I can understand why, although it's not a feature that I use very much. The Spark takes pedals extremely well, and if I want a looper, I have one, I add to it, but again, that's something that I do. Sorry about that. But again, that is something that, how I fix it. And some of you may not have a looper pedal and you just want it built in. I get that. But something in the future that can happen with an update. So we'll see what Positive Grid has in store for this pedal in the first quarter of 2022. I've put links below for some frequently asked questions about the Spark control. Now this link takes you directly to Positive Grid. They have a really great list of things that you might have questions about, so I encourage you to follow that link and just read it. And of course, if you're interested in an Average Guitarist t-shirt, check out my store. In fact, you are probably way better than me at playing guitar, so I have a above average guitarist shirt, which I think you would really enjoy as well. There are some really cool designs, and of course it helps support the channel. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications for many more videos to come, and of course some giveaways in the next month. In fact, I've got a looper pedal that I'm going to be reviewing, and once I'm done with the review, it's going out the door. I'll send it to someone who, enters that, but that will be coming here in the next month or so. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season, and I really hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.